Hello everyone, it's Friday once again, so you know what that means. It's time for edition 81 of Artisan Weekly. It's been another really good week here. Lots of articles this week, lots of YouTube videos, lots of great content. So it was a really difficult one to get 10 together because there was so many good posts. So let's kick it off with our first post today. This one is by Ruben. And Ruben works at Spatsy, and in this post they talk about how they went around putting together integration testing with and using real servers and queues for Flare. So it's a really interesting post. I mean, we all know that testing is really important, and sometimes we use mocks, we use the facades, we use all those kind of things in our Laravel code base. Or they go one step further here because they need to test things like that the log file get written, or that this happened, or that happened. So if you want to know how the teams like Spatsy do these kinds of things with their products, since it's a really good post to read. And then next up, we've got this post here by Dan. So he talks about how to turn Filament 5's rich editor into like a full block editor. So almost like what you'd get in WordPress, where you can build blocks like images, text left and right, things like that, all those kind of things. So if you've been wanting to customize your filament builds and make them a bit more flexible, it's another really good post here to read and check out. Next up then, it's Ruben again, but this is on his own personal site, and he talks about a crazy plan he had of rewriting one of his biggest packages, so TypeScript Transformer. Again, a really interesting blog post if you want to know how people who create big open source packages, like 6.8 million downloads I think this one's got right now, 383 stars. You want to go and see how they go about doing this kind of thing. So rewriting it from scratch, improving the speed, making it a smaller package, the things that he's used, like for instance PHP Stan is in the core, so it's it's type safe. It's all this kind of stuff. It's another really good post to check out. Next up then, we got Povlas. So the team over at Laravel Daily, they've released a MCP server that allows you to search for filament examples. So if you are working on a filament project and you can't figure out how to do something, or you want some ideas, hook up this MCP server and search away, and hopefully you're going to get some results that you will be able to use in your code base then. Next up now, we've got this post by Stuart. This is an interesting one about performance, about how using like select all can be really detrimental to your page loads, and he talks about how a 6 kilobyte column here was slowing down every page in his application. So yeah, it's nice to see, we all do these mistakes, but how he approached fixing that issue and the speed improvements he got from that afterwards. So again, if you're interested in looking at how you can improve your code base speed, particularly when it comes to like database queries and things like that, it's another good read. Next up, I've got this post here by Yannick, another one related to Spatsy. Obviously, they do a lot of open source work, and they've done something really nice here for us. They've released their guidelines as a skill. So if you're looking to write better quality code, stick to standards, and you haven't got any, you might be working at a place that doesn't really care for standards, but they you do. You can use this skill, and it will help you start writing code like Spatsy. So you're going to get better developed code, better standards, more secure, all these kind of things. So again, it's another skill that's worth looking at. Next up now, we've got Christoph. In his weekly kind of videos of what's new in Laravel this week, I thought I'd feature this one because there's a couple of really nice new features. The debounceable jobs. But the more interesting one for me is the Cloudflare email. So this is a service that's now in public beta. We saw Taylor tweet about this, and it kind of got a bit of interest. It's not something we've tried yet, but I'd be interested to see what it's like, the costs and things like that, because obviously Cloudflare do a lot of cool stuff, so them doing email is quite interesting. Next up then, so I don't know if you saw this last year, but JetBrains run an online event called PHP Verse, so it's back again for this year. It was a an online event. It's totally free, and there's some really great speakers last year, and they've already announced a couple of really great ones. As you can see here, it's been hosted by Nuno and Brent. And last year, I know like the Laravel news, Eric was out there. There was a lot of really good speakers, so hopefully this year you're going to see a lot more. So again, if you're a free event online, go head over to the website and sign up. Next up, this is another kind of code quality post by Zacharias. So Zacharias works at Laracraft, and he talks here about the tools, the stack that he uses or they use on their every Laracraft package that they develop. So, things like PES PHP, PHP Stan, Larastan, Rector, these really important tools that help you make like bulletproof code, to help type safe, and make sure the tests are passing, make sure all these things that help you lift the quality of your code, things that are really important to us at Jump24, they're important here at Laracraft. So it's really interesting to see this and see how he goes about doing this. Again, some of the tools, some of the setups, particularly things like his GitHub actions and using matrix builds, so you can test it against multiple versions of PHP, multiple versions of Laravel, things like that. So it's a nice little post on delivering better quality code. And then finally, we've got this post by Julian. Now, there's lots of ways to skin a cat, as they say, but it's interesting to see how other people write their code, or how they structure their code. There is no right and wrong answer for this, but obviously Julian here talks about how he puts together his filament apps. And yeah, if you're stuck on how you're doing it, you're just throwing things all over the place, maybe this is a nice post for you to look at to help you structure your code. So obviously that's the 10 for this week. Hopefully there was something that you liked and that you enjoyed reading, and if you did, please do reach out to the author on Twitter or Facebook and let them know, because obviously they're going to appreciate that, and hopefully then they'll kind of help them want to write more. Don't forget, if you'd like to see this top 10 in your inbox, if you head over to Artisan Weekly, we've got a newsletter now that you can subscribe to, so please do. It's a weekly newsletter that comes out on Friday. It'll have the 10 various other articles that I've read that week, and obviously a link back to the previous weeks for you to look at. And yeah, hopefully there was something you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thanks everyone, bye.